We are back on track on the show, Daybreak Tuesday. Now, the Miyetti Allah Fulani Socio-Cultural Association has called on the National Assembly to intervene and stop attempts by some state governors to enact anti-open grazing laws targeted at Fulani pastoralists. The group said the law would undermine the relative peace and stability currently enjoyed in the local communities and threaten the social order and worsen cattle rustling. We still have very much here in the studio, Ziggy. Now, that's a state governors, a clarion call there coming from Miyetti Allah, asking the state governors to not to implement the anti-grazing law. Now, does the federal government has the justification and capacity to stop the state governments from exercising their rights?
In Nigeria, we have two laws, that of the states and that of the federal. But one supersedes the other. The little knowledge I have about this is when the two laws come in conflicts, the federal law take
the upper hand.
The upper hand. That is just what I can say about that. But then, we've got already some states that have enacted their own.
Yes.
If that can be rescinded, I don't know. And so many other states are already very close to enacting theirs. Miyetti Allah have come up with this idea of unworkability. But are we speaking from the position of seeing things work in the country? Or we are looking at it from the angle of what works for me? Okay? Does enacting the law or does stopping these people or a kind of limiting them at a particular location, does it affect their business, which takes a better shape in their business? And don't forget, we are talking about one-man business. Rearing cattle is a business by an individual. So why should the whole country emerge in a talk of building individual business? A particular set of people. Yes, government should be interested in creating enabling environment, a working environment for all those who are in informal business, informal sector. Because rearing cattle is an informal business.
More like a sole proprietorship.
Yes, it's a sole proprietorship. It is even now we begin to know that so many people who speak for this are involved in the business. Quite unfortunate that the knowledge we had before was because that business is solely for the north. It's not. So many southern people own it. And it's now knowledgeable. Is the knowledge to us now that it is an elitist kind of business. Very powerful individuals are involved in it. They own cows. The problem we have is the headers.
Yeah.
In the past, I grew up in the village. These guys were very friendly. And all you see them with is just that they are a small stick and just a little kettle that contains water. They were friendly. They were mixing with everybody. Okay? Not until the same set of people that has caused problem in this country started using it as a bargain for their position. How do I mean? If I had a business, I have people working for me. They follow my instruction, right?
Of course.
Whatever thing I tell them to do is what they do. Okay? I don't blame those in the country who says that the laws in the country is just meant for the poor. Very sad indeed. When you arm these guys with AK-47, AK-47 is not 10 naira device. That thing is sold for $1 million plus.
Wow.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of them.
And they have a lot of it. Who gave it to them? For what purpose? So when we refuse to tackle issues from the root, the cause of the problem, and begin to scratch the surface, we're only doing window dressing.
But you see, when these people carry sophisticated rifles such as the AK-47 you've just mentioned, one begins to see a kind of justification there.
I have a thought I'm building up, sorry.
Okay, okay.
Now, guns were given to them.
All right.
And they were a kind of monikered to be that it's for defense.
Okay.
What defense?
Cattle rustlers who also
Defense.
are well armed.
Yeah.
Why defense?
Yeah, but the defense is very weak and lame. Because in the past, the cattle rustlers we have been inundated with have been there. Who are the cattle rustlers? Thieves. Those who come to take away their cattle.
Mm-hmm.
How have they been fighting them?
Yeah. Without weapons.
Without weapons.
That was then.
Then.
But now they are armed.
Okay, so if you want to justify giving these guys AK-47 that is sold for $1 million plus, what purpose? Now, these are nomads. They don't, they move about and all that. The protection you've allayed, you've linked these guns to, how have they been protecting themselves? There was an incident that happened that refused to leave my memory while a young boy. These same Fulani cattle headers, they came within our vicinity and they ran over our cassava plantation. The next morning they came. We didn't go to them, but we were complaining why they did. The next morning they came, begging. And you know what? When they came, they asked us how much it could cost them to really as a remedial for what they spoiled or what they've damaged. In that same spirit of togetherness, we allowed them to go. Where am I building to? The same spirit, where has it gone to? The elitist kind of business that is this rearing these cows has gone deep into discouraging the same set of people from being human.
Yeah.
Okay? Because if you are in my employ, you listen to what I tell you. If I tell you to disobey anybody, you are ready to do it. And more so, carrying gun, you can't face someone who has a gun. One single person with a gun can defeat a whole community. So the moment these guys are armed, the moment they are fitted with arms, that was when the fear started coming in, infiltrating into those they are living within their community. Now there's a law. Situate them, keep them in a place. How is it done in other countries? France, for instance, they have a location since you guys are, the owners of this business are rich, they are super rich men and women. They are rich. Buy a plot of land. Make it a ranch, domesticate this. It's not hard.
Okay.
They just try to make it hard so that they will complicate issues and begin to let you and I talk about it. It is not a hard thing.
Right.
Nigeria has a mass land. What is wrong when you say, okay, let's get the whole of this place in northern areas? Are you saying they don't have a mass geographical location where all these people could? Do you know that during the rainy season they could grow a kind of grass that will be enough for their feeding for the year round before the other cycle runs in?
All right, the spokesperson for the Miyetti Allah Al Hassan said that the video I saw, that's obviously on the internet now, says he was saying that this law is, the anti-grazing law is satanic, it's antichrist, and he went further to say it would undermine the relative peace and stability currently enjoyed in local communities. And also he said it would destroy livestock production and send into poverty millions of people that depend on livestock. It is
the same thing. He is not telling us news stories. He just giving a name to what we know already.
What is satanic and antichrist in
asking people, in asking a group of businessmen and women to situate their business in such a way that will not destroy the farm produce of a particular region. Because when they move along people's farms.
Yeah.
I think that is the whole problem. If they were limited in a particular place, their movement is restricted, such that will not make them to pass through a particular farmland to another. And each time they pass a place, the hoof of the cows spoils or rams the soil, that will make it difficult for cultivation. These are good reasonings. Okay? These are good reasonings. So instead of tinkering with the reasons others are coming up with, they begin to brew fire and brimstone.
Okay, now Nigerians have the constitutional right to freedom of movement. Is this banning of
freedom of movement, you said, by individuals, right?
Yes.
By human beings or by cattle?
Human beings.
Good. Cattle?
These are human beings.
What
it is human beings that take care of the cattle we're talking about. So you don't think that this right, if it is violated,
is infringed upon?
Yeah, that is
not the issue. We are talking about, nobody is asked not to move from point A to point B. Commuting is a freedom.
Yes.
For everyone.
But that's the interpretation given to it by the Miyetti Allah.
That's what I said. I've made a point earlier when we were making a newspaper review. I said, we have more of tribesmen than citizens. What does that imply to you? Whatever thing that wouldn't be an advantage to you, you will see it as satanic. Whatever thing that will not be gainful to you, we are too selfish. When everything about our life is myself, 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 and myself, you would never see anything good the moment anything such didn't benefit you. And that is not how a country grows.
Yeah.
Individuals must think the right and benefit of another person. And that's why the Bible quickly says it, that whenever you want to pinch another person, pinch yourself first. Nobody has such spirit. It is all about, look, if this didn't work for me, it wouldn't work for anyone. And so be it.
And now,
so you would conclude.
Okay, now this is the usual way it is done in Nigeria. okay, taking
the usual way, but not the right way.
well, that's what they are used to.
Good.
And this is a means of livelihood for the herders. And you don't see this move by state governments, for instance, as violating or trying to hamper, the means of livelihood of these herders, those that are involved.
Do we look at if this weren't done this way, could it be done the other way?
Better way.
Better way? Why is it only this way? Let's assume we have a drought. Nigeria is so blessed with climate changes and all that. Okay? If we had a drought, would these cattle die away? No. What we are saying is domesticate them.
Yeah.
Localize them. Keep them in. Do you know that doing so will even reduce the chances of cattle rustlers?
Yes, very well.
Very well. Because it is when they go about, the cattle stealer, those who steal cattle, they are called the rustlers,
porous, yeah.
come to them. But when they are domesticated, when they are in a particular place, it is very hard to penetrate. Okay. Because they form a community. But the fear of some people too is that I might not want to go into that, but then when they come, they populate. Do you understand? They populate by means of reproduction and all that. Before you know, they form a community. Before you know, they have their head. Before you know, they take over the community.
He also mentioned the need for the government to, that's Al-Hassan now, said the government, there's a need for creation of Federal Ministry of Livestock and Fisheries as obtained in many countries. With this creation of that ministry, is it going to help with this issue of the killer headsmen or the headsmen?
We like replication, and the replication is the problem we have. That's why so many are saying the constitution we have is too small. American constitution is as small as this. It's at breast pocket you can put it. But our own is as big as this house.
And yes, they want it to be reviewed.
And they want to review it and add more.
Add more or change
what we have presently is okay for us. What we lack is implementation. Creating more ministries, creating more agencies, creating more commissions wouldn't solve the problem. You are only creating money for more people. Okay? Step by step. Honestly, if we want to achieve a particular thing, we certainly will. If we had that mind of growing a country, if we want to make things work, we certainly can do it without additional load or creating a cumbersome situation for ourselves. If you create such ministry or such a commission, there will still be errors.
Now, what is your advice, as to how to settle this conflict between the Miyetti Allah and the planned banning?
Briefly.
Very briefly, please.
Domestication. Localize and restrict their movement. It is advantageous. When they don't move from point A to point B, they wouldn't go through anybody's farmland. There wouldn't be conflicts of interest. And two, why do we have herders farmers clash? It's because you spoil my my farm. I can't get farm produce from where I got them to the next point. Your cattle are destroying my farmland. I can't cultivate the soil because they are rammed and all that. Okay? This can be done endlessly. If we had that citizen mind, we are humane to ourselves. The problem we have is citizenship, indigenship, and settlership.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ziggy. Ibe, that was an amazing time with you on the show.
You, it's
Thank
my pleasure.
you. All right.
That's Ziggy.
Thank you so much.
All right, you've heard so much from Ziggy Ibe. I'm sure there's a lot to take home from that. Every citizen has a right, but make sure you're not infringing or stepping on the right of the next person just for your own gain, because where your right stops, that's when someone else's right ends. Thank you so much for joining us for this segment. We'll take a short break now. Coming next is Social Media Boss. We'll be right back.